Insulin resistance is reversible. Type 2 diabetes is reversible. It is not a life sentence. You see, I had gotten an offer earlier that week for a big project over in Greece. They were building a new power plant not far from Tolmeda. That was a huge deal and would provide power for most of the eastern part of the country. They needed an experienced man as a project supervisor, and with my experience, I was one of the top candidates. Given Kathy's condition and state of mind, the timing couldn't have been worse, or so I thought. But unable to do anything about it, I set off for Greece, leaving Kathy's sister in charge of her safety. I hated leaving her, but as it turned out, the men I would meet on that job would provide the answers to my prayers. And in the strangest of ways, right after my long flight, I'm introduced to the team of guys I was supervising, a group of 19 men from all over Greece. Among those was Alexander Duka and 7 other guys who came to work on the project from their home on a tiny Greek island called Halki. Ever heard of it? Yeah, me neither. It was a total population of 487, or about 479 since Alex and his guys came to work with me. As the weeks went on, I came to realize these 8 guys who were all in their mid-50s didn't have diabetes or even a single symptom of it. They were slim, healthy, and full of energy. Back home, I didn't know of one person over 50 who didn't have diabetes, let alone 8 of them. So that night, I took Alex to one side and told him all about my wife's conditions, her suicidal thoughts, and that she didn't have long until she might face another coma. If you know anything that can help her, please tell me, I pleaded. Alex smiled, patted me on the shoulder, and told me to wait where I was. A few minutes later, he returned with a notepad and a pencil and began to scribble down what looked like a recipe, complete with a list of strange foods, most of which I'd never even heard of. "What's this?" I asked, looking down at the list. "The secret you've been searching for," he said with a glint in his eye. "Our health is all down to the food we eat." He continued mysteriously, "Diabetes simply doesn't exist on our island. This recipe has been in my family for generations," he said. "Eat these foods and your wife will recover." With that, Alex stood up, gave me a knowing smile, and got back to work. Only then did I remember that Alex and his friends always made those homemade dressings with their lunch and dinner, sometimes even as a snack. They'd put them on salads, meats, veggies, and even just dip pita breads in them. The minute I returned home to the U.S., I began researching the ingredients from Alex's recipe. The first one was something called kohlrabi. What the heck was that, I thought? But according to several studies, kohlrabi, which is a type of vegetable similar to a cabbage, was abundant in 2 nutrients, sulforaphane and glucophane. Turns out both nutrients protect and repair lung epithelial cells against oxidative damage caused by tiny ambient air particulate matter and help detoxify and repair the body. Yeah, it really was making sense now, and guess what? While the level of pollution in Greece was one of the highest in the world, far higher than the US, I found out that they actually had one of the lowest levels of diabetes. It must be because of these traditional dressings and the ingredients that make them up. It would explain why Alex and his guys, who even though they worked in Greece at power plants their whole lives, never got diabetes or exhibited any sign of it. But don't go out and order an overseas delivery of kohlrabi just yet, because that's not even half the story, and not enough on its own to win the war against PM 2.5 damage and unshackle you from diabetes. You see, second on Alex's list of type 2 diabetes reversers was marjoram, which the Greeks eat in abundance. That was just a simple spice used to flavor the dressing, but was actually packed full of a nutrient called beta-carotene. Again, I discovered this nutrient would fight the effects of airborne toxins on the lungs and body. It also improved digestive function and heart health. A study stated the next item, broccoli sprouts, caused rapid and sustainable detoxification of airborne pollutants. Plus, dietary supplementation with broccoli sprouts extract was highly effective in improving liver function through reduction of oxidative stress. And it didn't stop there. Alex's recipe included a range of Greek fruits, vegetables, herbs, berries, seeds, and other completely natural ingredients, including Grecian laurel leaves, jujubes, and bergamot oranges. Turned out, every single ingredient from the recipe were proven to repair rapidly the damage caused in our bodies by PM 2.5 pollution and prevent any further damage, amongst other health benefits. After researching the entire list, I discovered that together the recipe contained 8 essential antioxidants, clinically proven to rapidly improve insulin resistance, in turn reversing type 2 diabetes, and protect against devastating conditions such as heart disease, stroke, nerve pain, and more. I call them the Diabetes Reversing 8. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Here were completely natural ingredients that had been scientifically proven to reverse the root cause of diabetes, yet not a single doctor had ever told my wife anything about them. All they wanted to do was keep selling her expensive medications. I was now more determined than ever to not only reverse Kathy's diabetes, but help millions of others too, so no one would ever need to pop a single dangerous medication again. But there was a problem. Although finding the broccoli sprouts wasn't difficult, locating high-quality kohlrabi jujubes, which are a type of date, and even bergamot oranges was almost impossible. Naturally, most of them could only be found on the Greek islands, and there was no way I could get these foods shipped over every week. The costs would be enormous. I needed a plan B. I reasoned that if I could take Alex's original recipe, break it down, and then uncover some local foods which contain the same antioxidants in the exact same amounts, while applying modern science and technology to the new formulation, I would be able to create a recipe even more powerful than Alex's and give Kathy a real shot at reversing her diabetes. But of course, without any medical training or experience, needed help. And I got it in the form of Amanda Fearson, a dedicated, independent medical researcher with over 29 years' experience. As it turned out, Amanda had a personal interest in what I was doing. Her own mother had diabetes and could barely walk anymore, and she was passionate about finding a treatment that could save her life. Amanda was one of those rare people who exuded charisma, warmth, and intelligence. When we first met, she greeted me with a warm hug and a big smile. "Your research is completely correct," she said. "We are all affected by PM 2.5 at different rates based on our body types. That's why some people get diabetes faster than others, and why you, Eric, are only pre-diabetic, whereas your wife is type 2. However, the human body has not evolved to synthesize its own detoxifying nutrients to clear out this new threat, the PM 2.5. It's only been around for the past 70 years or so. So the only way to get the 8 essential nutrients you have discovered, Eric, is through food." "I'd love to help," she said. So Amanda agreed to help research hundreds of different formulas which were tested ethically on mice and gauged what happened to their insulin resistance. It took 3 months, but eventually Amanda and I developed a series of all-American dressings that contain the exact same nutrients and vitamins found in Alex's recipe that if you consumed alone would have very little effect. But when combined together and eaten twice a day would produce remarkable results. In fact, thanks to Amanda's expertise, these recipes were 4.4 times more powerful than the original recipe consumed by Alex and his family and his friends. Amanda stated, "This new breakthrough addresses the one true cause of insulin resistance, PM 2.5. When you correct and flush out these toxins, you and your body can naturally restore itself, so you will effortlessly drop pounds of fat. Your arteries will clear and your blood sugar will stabilize, and your insulin resistance reduces. Nothing like this has ever been attempted before in history of diabetes, and I literally couldn't wait to get started." And the best part was, because these unique recipes were completely natural, instead of a drug, we didn't have to submit our treatment to the FDA and potentially wait years for approval. Instead, we just needed one willing patient to put the protocol to the test. And of course, that patient was Kathy. The next morning, I visited our local grocery store to pick up all the ingredients we needed. I stocked up on test strips to help monitor her blood sugar along the way. Honestly, Kathy looked at me like I was crazy the first time I gave her the dressings to eat with her lunch and dinner. They took 60 seconds to create, but I still remember how she held her nose and steeled herself for the awful taste she expected, and the smile that spread across her face as she said it tasted great. Still, I had to beg her to keep eating them every day. She thought it was just another waste of time. After 7 days of following the recipes, there was little change. She lost a couple of pounds within the first few days, but we thought nothing of it. Until later that evening when something remarkable happened. We just finished dinner and I handed Kathy the bowl to grab a second portion of food, a habit we'd gotten used to since she gained the weight. "No, I'm fine, thanks. I'm full," she said. "What?" I hadn't heard that in 5 years. We both looked at each other in shock and burst out laughing, and each day following was like a dream. Her blood sugar readings continued to fall from 400 to 315, then to 251, then to 197, and then to 143. But the best was yet to come. Day 21 was a sunny Sunday morning, and I'll remember it forever. I woke to the loudest scream I've ever heard. Terrified, I instinctively reached for my handgun in the nightstand, until the screams turned to laughter. I ran down the stairs where I saw Kathy standing in the kitchen staring at her glucose reading, tears rolling down her face. But this time they weren't tears of panic or fear. They were tears of happiness, of joy, In just 3 weeks, she was at a healthy reading of 120. And that's not even the best part. Remember that weight gain and hunger is a symptom of insulin resistance. Well, since she had reversed her insulin resistance, her hunger vanished, and the weight dropped off her like butter in a microwave. Every day, she was safely shedding pure belly fat, arm fat, chin fat. Her love handles disappeared. She had lost 56 pounds of weight, going from this to this slim and sexy lady today. She was so excited to show me her jeans falling off her hips in a way they hadn't in 25 years. Plus, she had so much more energy. She was sleeping better, and the aches and pains in her legs and feet were gradually disappearing with every day that passed. Even her hair seemed thicker, fuller, and shinier than it had. Her fears about falling into another coma, needing an amputation, or having a heart attack vanished. When we saw Dr. Grayson, he couldn't believe his eyes. He was speechless that she had achieved it all by herself, naturally and safely. And when he saw her glucose readings, he said she could finally come off her medications. That evening, we threw all of them in the trash. What a great feeling. It was like a time machine taking us back 5 years before this nightmare began. But the most amazing thing was watching Kathy's stomach, watching the belly fat she'd been fighting for years and years shrink away to nothing until one day I came home and saw her walking around the house in a sports bra and shorts, her beautiful flat belly on display. I was a little afraid to touch her at first, afraid she'd tell me not to, but when I wrapped my arms around her, she melted, tilting her head so I could kiss her neck, and smiled at me and told me to meet her in the bedroom. It was the most amazing, passionate night of my life, as we lay there naked, cuddling and laughing in love again, in a way we hadn't been in a long time. I had a huge smile across my face. I'd done it. I'd saved my wife. Kathy had broken free from the cycle of insulin resistance. She was back in control of her own blood sugar. Neither of us could believe it. After being told to prepare ourselves for Kathy to fall into a coma or for her to even die, Kathy had reversed her diabetes, and it had taken just over 3 weeks. I was desperate to get the recipes out to as many people as possible, but Amanda warned me that one person wasn't proof that the formula worked. And she was right. It may have worked for Kathy, but would it work for everyone? I wanted to see if these recipes would work on people who were suffering the most, who had the most severe cases of type 2 diabetes. I had to know for sure. So, I came up with a plan. I decided to post adverts online and in local newspapers, asking for volunteers who might be willing to put our diabetes reversing recipes to the test. They had to be type 2 diabetic, overweight, and unable to lose weight no matter their diet or how much they exercised, tired, hungry, and experiencing many of the typical diabetic symptoms. After just 6 days, we had 96 people suffering from varying degrees of type 2 diabetes who would test the protocols. The results were way more incredible than any of us could have imagined. Without exception, and within a maximum of 32 days, all 96 volunteers reported dramatic improvements in their blood sugar. Better still, the average weight loss was about 26 pounds. Energy levels soared. Any risks of heart attacks, amputations, or strokes were completely eliminated. Blood pressure normalized. Brain fog was lifted. Aches and pains subsided. A total of 97% of participants went on to reverse their diabetes. The other 3% fell just short, but were no less overjoyed at the weight loss and health benefits they'd achieved. I received emails, phone calls, and text messages from people overwhelmed by the changes and desperate to thank me. Nicholas Green, one of our test subjects, a 46-year-old butcher from Grenada, Missouri, lost 1 pound of fat overnight after starting the program, and another 32 pounds within the following weeks. He went from this to this. It was clear my medications weren't working. After 7 years on them, I had gained over 40 pounds. And when I saw your message, I knew that this was my ticket out of this death trap. My leg swelling has now disappeared. I feel more energetic, mobile, and my joint pain has gone. I'm still dropping weight to this day because of these dressings. Thank you, Eric and Amanda. Ray C. Varela, a 44-year-old notary from Tacoma, Washington, lost 18 pounds going from this to this. I felt so guilty when I heard I had diabetes 10 years ago, she said. I was afraid I'd never have kids or I'd give it to them. I felt guilty that it was my fault somehow. So I'm glad to hear it's not my fault. Ray has since reversed her type 2 diabetes, boosted her energy, and rekindled the romance in her marriage. That was it. We developed a natural, clinically proven treatment for reversing even the worst cases of type 2 diabetes. After seeing the effect that diabetes had on my own wife, I made it my mission to ensure that no one else ever has to suffer like she did. This protocol works, and I'm excited to say that the obscene statistics about diabetes are about to change forever. I'm going to give you 3 fantastic bonuses for free as a big thank you for watching my video up to this point. Each bonus has been meticulously created by lead medical researcher Christopher Clements. The first bonus is called the Relaxed Mind, Healthy Body video series. Why a video series? Because you've got the Halki Diabetes Remedy to read. I couldn't ask you to read anymore. Simply load up the video and watch. It couldn't be easier. Look, I've made it as easy as possible for you to get the results by adding simple side dressings to your regular diet, but I want to guarantee your success. And unfortunately, when you're stressed out and you're not mentally calm, it can even affect the power of the Halki Diabetes Remedy. In the video series, Christopher will reveal the #1 morning ritual you should adopt that will give you more energy, tranquility, and more focus each and every day. How to have more energy than you've ever dreamed without caffeine or other artificial stimulants. A fascinating technique in how to tap into your best self for ultimate performance in every facet of your life. And more, you'll be well prepared, calm, and confident, ready for the Halki Diabetes Remedy. You'll feel relaxed, well rested, and ready to go. We've included a cheat sheet, handy checklist, transcription, and mind map to give you an overview of everything covered inside the videos. You've started the protocol, your mind is calm and healthy, but what about your energy? In bonus number 2, the Energy Multiplier video series, we address just that. This is another 10-part bite-sized video series written and narrated by researcher Christopher Clements. Again, it's easy to understand with actionable content. Inside this video, you'll discover the #1 simple change to wake up refreshed, become more productive instantly, and ultimately be a super version of yourself. The power of an odd nutrient to stimulate energy levels and the supplements that will help you get more energy naturally. The key to waking up full of energy each and every morning so you can tackle the day and get everything done, and much more. Again, this video series comes with a cheat sheet, mind map, and transcription. It's the perfect way to ensure that you remain committed to the Halki Diabetes Remedy. The last bonus is the final piece of the puzzle. We call it Achieve Your Goals video series. Are you ready to start living the life of your dreams? Don't you want to avoid being like the vast majority of people, having hundreds of projects started and never completed? Sadly, the Halki Diabetes Remedy is included in that list of things some people never get around to actually finishing. In this bonus, Christopher will reveal all the little known tricks and tips to make sure you succeed not only with the Halki Diabetes Remedy, but every single goal and dream you have or ever will have. Again, this amazing video series comes with a cheat sheet, mind map, and written guide and transcription. If you truly want to succeed with the Halki Diabetes Remedy, then you need this bonus. Just click the button below right now. Use the material. It's so easy to use and as close to done for you as humanly possible. And then see for yourself how easy getting a taut, firm, flat belly and watching the pounds fall off your body can actually be. How easy it is to reverse the insulin resistance and feel electric with newfound energy.